We're thinking about, hey, we are live. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and I'm at 2.5 cups of coffee in the last half hour. And we're here today to talk about general geekery and tomfoolery, what comics and movies we're reading, and especially what came out of SDCC this week, San Diego Comic-Con. A quick review of our panel. We have Aid Smith. How you doing, Aid?
I'm good, thank you.
He is bringing our culture and sophistication from across the pond, and bringing our culture and sophistication from the Great Plains. We have Jacob Blackman from Oklahoma. How you doing, Jacob?
Hello, everyone.
Hey. And rounding us out with some of that East Coast edge, we have Walt Rebelliard from New Hampshire. How you doing, Walt?
It's all covered in marinara, and actually, I'm 2 states lower.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that.
Cheers.
Rhode Island?
Rhode Island, yep.
My geography's terrible. Anyway, Jacob is pissed off about SDC, so Jacob, go.
I didn't say pissed off about SDC, and just like there's way too much from San Diego Comic-Con this year, especially with Marvel. Oh my God, all the Marvel news that came out, just info dump one day, and that was on my game day. I was trying to run my science fantasy game on Saturday, and every couple of minutes it was like, hey, did you see what Marvel's talking about? Hey, did you look at this? Hey, they're bringing up the Eternals. Hey, Shang-Chi is like, oh my God, people, I'm trying to game here.
So before we get into San Diego Comic-Con rage, I'm a huge science fantasy nerd. What is this game you speak of?
Okay. When Starfinder came out, I created my own campaign setting called Dark Mana. And it was a fun game. My players very much enjoyed it, but we didn't really care for the Starfinder set, the game mechanics. There wasn't enough magic. It was way too tech, not enough of the fantasy element that they promised in science fantasy. So recently, I discovered that a group of fans on Reddit created their own Star Wars RPG using the 5th edition D&D system, and using that combined with the magic system in 5th edition D&D, I restarted my Dark Mana setting, and my players have just been loving it. It's exactly what they want. It's blasters, laser guns, dragons, demons, and all of that. And they're just loving it.
They did a Star Wars 5e. Are they selling this anywhere? Can people get this?
It is
on the Reddit.
It is available for free because it's a licensed product. They can't sell it, so they're making it available for free.
Okay, so they're not calling it Stellar Wars or a Star War. It's actually, hey, here's Star Wars 5e.
Yeah, they've got Star Wars art and characters all over it, and it's very well done.
Yeah, production value's tight.
Oh, you've got a link, Walt?
There's a Reddit. I think I stole the link from you, Jacob.
I know I've got the link here. Let me put it up in the chat. That way we can put it up on when this gets put up elsewhere.
And they haven't come out with like a game master's guide yet, have they? A DM's guide?
So far, they've done a player's guide. They have done a monster manual, and they are still working on a Ships of the Galaxy.
Is that the link right there? Reddit.com SW5E?
Yes, that is it.
All right.
That is in fact it.
I've been teasing this idea. I had this idea for a simple rules-light Star Wars game that you could just kind of pick up and play and have a good time, because Star Wars isn't particularly deep on things like, well, tactics or technology. I was going to call it Pew Pew. But I've just been looking for a light enough rule system to bring that to life. But this sounds like a lot of fun. So you guys are having a good time with it, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're having a great time with it. It's been a blast.
Cool, excellent. So can we tap back into your feelings?
SDCC rage?
Indeed. So yes, there I was gaming, and everyone is coming up to me on social media about talking about what's going on at San Diego Comic-Con, and this, of course, is pretty much all about Marvel and all the things they're talking about for after Endgame. And just because it's called Endgame doesn't mean it's the end. Oh no, Marvel's going to give us the Eternals, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm hoping they might get into the real Mandarin on that one.
It's gotta be the Mandarin, isn't it?
Yeah, as opposed to the fake Mandarin we got. Let's see, Wanda and the Vision, Loki, Doctor Strange, and the Universe of Madness, or something like that.
Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
The Marvel Studios What If animated series that's going to be showing up on Disney Plus, Hawkeye, Natalie Portman, spoiler, Natalie Portman as Thor in Thor Love and Thunder. That was huge news.
I actually enjoyed that storyline from the comics.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of
Jane Foster as Thor.
The transition, because the power isn't Thor, like much, despite what the third Thor movie said. The power is the hammer, and whosoever holds the hammer shall have the power of Thor. And that's something that a lot of people missed in Endgame. When Captain America held that hammer, he wasn't fighting at Captain America level. He was fighting at Thor level. He had the strength and power of Thor while he was beating the ass of Thanos.
I got to tell you, though, in that first Thor movie, Anthony Hopkins whispering to the hammer and having the sigils. Oh my God, I got all goosebumpy. I was like,
that was beautiful how they did that.
I was like, wow, Hannibal's going to kick some ass with this hammer.
Let's see.
So they actually managed to make a Thor movie that was cool. I mean, like the whole first phase of Marvel, or first two phases, or three phases, whatever the fight. I was talking with some guys this weekend, and they're like, I used to think Captain America and Thor were two of the stupidest superheroes. I didn't know how they could do a movie and just not be, horrible. And now Captain America is one of my favorite, superhero. I'm not sure how this happened.
Well, it helps that they got the right directors for those movies, because they got the guy who made The Rocketeer to make the Captain America film, and he is all about the golden age heroes, so he knows how to do them right.
Yeah, I would agree. So Jane Foster's going to be Thor, probably loosely following a recent story arc from 3 or 4 years back. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Beta Ray Bill. But
oh my God! Didn't they say something about Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah,
3,
they
right?
teased Beta Ray for Guardians 3. That's right. Yeah. That's
right. They choose that. That's a little more down the line compared to the other shows that they were talking about.
Because they fired the director, then they rehired him, but he was already working on the next Suicide Squad movie, which hopefully won't suck ass this time. Sorry, I said ass. Sometimes you have to earn the explicit tag on your podcast.
If you want some good Suicide Squad movies, watch the animated films.
Jacob, you also forgot Blade.
Yes, Blade, starring Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
My God, so excited!
Yeah. I've only ever seen him in True Detective season 3, but he was really good in it, and I can see a Blade. I think Phase 4 of Marvel seems to be they're kind of dipping into that genre thing again, where they're going, right, okay, we need a horror film, we need a we need that, and they're all going to be slightly different than just look, there's a big baddie, smash him down superhero movie. Yeah,
kind of makes me wish they hadn't done the Luke Cage TV show. We could have gotten a Luke Cage movie at this point, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, they were teasing Daredevil in Spidey 3. Mentions the other day on something I was reading, so it's like, okay, I really do hope that they get some kind of cameo, the TV people, because it would be a shame to completely abandon that kind of thing, even if it's just Jessica Jones showing up in something or whatever. But yeah, Luke Cage and Iron Fist in Shang-Chi would be awesome. Just saying.
So quick question: who's got money that says Wesley Snipes is somewhere just pissed off, staring into a mirror, saying, "No, I'm Blade"?
No bet. No.
I'm guessing his tax lawyers probably are.
Hey,
well, yeah. Hey, yes.
How you doing?
I'm all apologies. I'm so sorry. It's end of July and I can oversleep and miss a 2:00 appointment.
No worries. I understand that the life of a public educator is fraught with many perils, and I wouldn't slight you your recovery and relaxation time.
Well, thank you. It's an odd week. My wife has jury duty and all that, so I'm left to my own devices. And you guys have known me long enough to know that's never good.
So, are we deep into a Love Boat marathon or what?
Well, okay. I actually feel a little guiltier than that. Yesterday it was in honor of the moon landing. The Comet Channel had dawned at us Space 1999.
Oh yeah.
Quality.
And really, I don't know anything nerdier than blowing a whole entire summer day on Space 1999. Because I'm willing to bet anybody associated with that show wouldn't have wasted a whole day on it, not without getting a pretty sizable check out of the deal.
I used to watch that every week back on syndication in Greensburg, Indiana, with my dad in the late 1970s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On a TV, we had to use a vice grip to use to change the channel.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm from rural Virginia. That vice grip made an earlier appearance there than most places.
So, all right, well, cool. So we're talking about SDC, San Diego Comic Con. Goddammit.
Yes, yes.
Touching on Phase 4 of Marvel, and hey, do you have any thoughts on all this?
Well, on the Marvel thing, or
Yeah.
just so yeah, I'm interested to see where they go. Except, like I said, everybody knows Marvel movies, meh, whatever. I really like Shang-Chi, and so I'm glad that he's getting a movie. I'm intrigued to see Angelina Jolie in the Eternals, because it's like, crikey, you sign Angelina Jolie for one of the least known Marvel teams ever existing. That's a big risk. So obviously they're hopefully to play on a star power to bring people in to see it.
I think after Guardians of the Galaxy, they're probably just saying to people, "Hey, we can, we'll make you, make a big hit out of anything."
But the last Eternals book was like Gaiman's, wasn't it? And that must have been like 2000s at the earliest.
2006.
Yeah, so that's going back a fair few years. I know virtually nothing about the Eternals, and I've been reading Marvel comics for 30 odd years. So it's like,
oh my god. Okay, all right. Just imagine the New Gods.
Yes.
Only dumber and more blatantly a ripoff.
Yeah, that's what I always assumed. Yeah, we're just there. They were the New Gods.
It's like everything I hate about Jack Kirby, the writer, distilled down into one really incredibly stupid package.
Because I know they were going about the actual, like, the first issues of Eternals with the Celestials and all this kind of stuff, and also, obviously I believe we've seen Celestials in Guardians and other stuff. So they're going cosmic again,
and maybe in Stephen Strange or Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, feel free to mock me when it happens, but right now, I mean, I wouldn't watch Eternals if they were acting it out in my house.
This is one of the only issues I have with a lot of the things they announced at Marvel is the most of these are going to be prequels or things that happen in the history of the current Marvel universe.
Yeah, the Black Widow one, isn't it? Yeah.
The Black Widow is going to be taking place in the past. Obviously, Wanda and the Vision are going to have to take place in the past. The Eternals they already mentioned is going to be taking place millions of years in the past. So a lot of this stuff is going to be building on the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They did kind of cripple themselves though, just by the snap being 5 years later. Gone.
I liked that, to be honest. The fact that they didn't undo it. They just fixed it, and especially when you got to see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and you got to see how the snap affected real people.
That's what I'm hoping, because I've not seen Homecoming, and Spider-Man literally is the only Marvel movie I will watch because I really, really enjoyed the last one.
Yeah, it's a funny thing about Far From Home, if you think about it, that Far From Home had that great mid-credits twist.
Oh yeah,
and that. And it definitely got people's attention. But the thing about it is, now you can't really move forward with Spider-Man until he gets another movie out, which I guess now won't be 2022 at the onset.
Someone even mentioned there's going to be no Spider-Man, no Avengers in Phase 4 at all, which means literally all of those movies are going to be before another Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
does that mean we're going to have recasting Spider-Man? This is crazy.
I was sort of hoping that Spider-Man might. He might really truly fill Iron Man's role as the guy that shows up in movies just for no reason. But now
just like in the comics.
Yeah.
Just be like a comic book.
But now you can't use him at all, because if Spider-Man shows up and say, "I'll just like the Shang-Chi movie, just picking at random. Everybody's going to be going like, "Hey, Spider-Man, everybody knows who you are now," and they can't resolve that until his next movie. So it's like they're putting one of their best players on the bench for the next 3 years, and that just to me that seems to be a real downside of the way that movie shook out.
Well, so the other thing they mentioned, the rumor again going around, if you read through websites, is they thinking about possibly bringing Kraven the Hunter into it, but as a Wakandian from Black Panther place area, rather than being his Russian self, to kind of tie those two together.
Well, it's like it's like we were saying during our Far From Home podcast. We were talking about how Tom Holland wants Jason Momoa to do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And the fact that you could tie it into Wakanda and Africa. I think all of us at the time were really excited at the possibility of seeing Tom Holland and Chadwick Boseman bounce off each other.
I'd say I've always said the biggest problem I have more than anything else is when they try and replicate stuff from the comic books and then kind of not quite get it right. If they're doing like an Ultimate Universe approach where it's like, hey, then it kind of start making it more palatable to me personally. So it's like, the idea is like, hey, it's Kraven the Hunter, but it's completely different. It's like, okay, fair enough. Rather than going, oh, it's Kraven the Hunter, but he's blonde or something, that would just niggle me more than anything else. So it's yeah. Anyway,
I keep waiting for the wheels to fall off the Marvel Universe. I'm wondering if Phase 4 is going to be it, and I thought it was going to happen a couple of years ago. It's like there's no way they can keep this going the way they have been. You don't have this many good movies in a row without egos or corporate bullshit getting in the way.
And this is the problem, because this is what I was thinking when they announced so many movies at SDCC. Is you've got the problem now is, whereas it was comics, you can keep drawing Peter Parker as 24, 25-year-old. Everyone is going to age. So if the Eternals does really well next year, they've got all those beforehand. Everyone's, if I think there's at least one or two kids in there, they're all going to be 5-6 years older before they get around again. So it's like trying to tie all that stuff in and keep everybody without recasting literally every single movie. That's the drawback. That's the problem.
I also think a lot of some of them may be missing a few things here on the timetable. Several of these things aren't movies. Several of the announced projects are going to be shows on Disney Plus.
Oh, of course, yes, of course, they're all. Yeah, so the What If one is my favourite because I love alternate universe Marvel stuff. So that sounds interesting, and because it's animated, means you can do what the hell you want with it. If you want Captain America to be 50 foot tall, he's 50 foot tall. That's perfect. So, yeah.
I will point out that Paul Bettany has been cast to play Vision in 6 episodes of WandaVision.
Yeah.
So unless those are all flashbacks, I think he's coming back somehow.
I'm honestly expecting it's either going to be telling the story of what Wanda and Vision were up to in the years between the Sokovia Accords going live and in Infinity War. That's probably what the series is going to be about. Or Wanda does something interesting.
Can't they just rebuild the Vision? Surely wasn't that the thing that Hank Pym was always doing?
Except
there's a white version of the Vision, there's a green version of the Vision, there's a da-da-da.
Well, except they don't have the Infinity Stone for his mind anymore.
Ah, right.
Powers.
It's tied into that, is it? Okay, that makes sense.
Well, they were working on a way to get him away from the Infinity Stone. They're, like a big climactic battle at Wakanda. So, if I had a vote, I would say that's going to happen. But I also think they're going to have, occasional old man Steve Rogers cameos, just to make people say, hey, there he is. So it'd be fun if they did like what they did in the comics where Steve Rogers was this geriatric guy running S.H.I.E.L.D.
You kids with your superpowers.
I just wanted to show up and complain about all the noise and,
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
The interesting thing I find fascinating about Phase 4, just by going about all that stuff that's been announced, is, unless I am incorrect, that they mention, again, spoilers if anyone's not seen it, because I'm only going from what I've read. End of Spider-Man, Nick Fury is reviewed to be a Skrull, therefore possibly kicking off Secret Invasion. None of those things address Secret Invasion whatsoever. I find that fascinating.
Well, if you saw Captain Marvel, the Skrulls are empathetic characters.
Yeah, that's what I believe, yeah. But I just thought that was interesting to put like a massive the Skrulls war, and then they bring out all these new movies. It's like, there's no mention of any Skrulls in this one.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, we had a couple post-credit scenes, The Incredible Hulk,
I suppose we waited for Thanos for quite some time after he was revealed at the end of whatever it was. So
Yeah, or the last Incredible Hulk movie with what's his name, Tyler Durden from Fight Club. I know he's a real actor with a real name. Forgive me.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. Yeah, there was an scene there at the end where Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, shows up and talks to General Ross, who I don't.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And everything they say is quickly invalidated by the next movie that comes out and is never referred to again. So.
Yeah.
Or hell, that damn cocoon at the end of either the
Oh
Guardian.
yeah. Adam Warlock potential. Yeah.
Adam Warlock's not coming up, so
No.
Actually, that was another bit of news they had at San Diego Comic-Con. It didn't get mentioned in the big Marvel stuff, but they were talking about one of the actors from Stranger Things being cast in the role of Adam.
Really? Did they say which one?
I don't know the name of the actor. He in Stranger Things season 2 and 3. He's the jerk older brother of the
Yeah, I thought.
of the redhead they bring into the show.
Oh,
He played the Red Ranger in Power Rangers movie.
I know who you mean. Yeah, he's kind of like the Billy Zabka of Stranger Things. So,
Interesting.
anybody watching that new Karate Kid thing on YouTube, Red?
Oh, it's great.
Really, I'm hearing good things. Yeah.
It's great. The only downside is the martial arts part of it kind of sucked.
Sure, that's the entire part of Karate Kid.
No, it's the show is
apart
more,
from the fighting.
it's more important. Well, no, the fighting parts are good. Okay, so like them actually like getting into beatdowns and stuff like that is really good. And at heart, Cobra Kai is a redemption story. It's a redemption story about Johnny, the kid that was the bully back then, and he sees a lot of his methods. All the things that he learned back then might not have been the best way to go, and his life and the life of his friends are kind of proof of that.
You thought Johnny was the bully?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that video. It's funny. But like, if you don't know anything about Karate Do from Okinawa, it's a good show, and you'll be absolutely happy with everything you see. The choreography is great. Everything's just right on. But if you know what Karate Do is supposed to, or Karate Jitsu is supposed to look like, you're gonna be like, did that motherfucker just put capoeira in my karate? What the shit? You know, so like, in the original movie, they got a very, very famous martial artist to not only do the choreography, but also to do the fight scenes for Pat Morita. His name is Fumio Demura.
That wasn't Pat Morita?
No.
Oh, man.
But Fumio Demura is one of those like living treasures of knowledge and an exemplary figure of what that martial art should be, and I think they're lacking that in the show as it stands now. So if you're into like really hardcore into martial arts, some of the things will pull you out of the immersion. But if you just have a general understanding of martial arts and like fight movies and stuff like that, you'll be pleasantly entertained. But like I said, the show is more about the redemption of Johnny and showing that just because you were a bully at one point doesn't mean you can't learn and grow and see the error of your ways and possibly get that that redemption arc. So it's really, really good. Season 1 was kind of like a mix of fun and leading into that story arc, while season 2 is really heavy on the feels. So like there's a lot going on, and both Johnny and LaRusso, they have to step back and say, this worked when we were kids, but we're not kids anymore. So it's a good show, really good show. If you get the opportunity, watch it. It's fun.
Cool. I've been meaning to check it out. It's just there's so many subscription services right now. YouTube Red is one I haven't gotten around to.
The YouTube subscription is really nice. the not only are the shows very inventive and fun, because there's more than just the Karate Kid.
I was not aware of that.
Oh, it's huge. Their science fiction show is amazing.
Okay, they were
you-
like CBS All Access, where it's basically the Star Trek channel, but you're saying
no. Their science fiction show is amazing. Impulse, I believe it's called, and it's I've only seen 3 episodes, and then just life got busy, and I haven't gotten back to it. But if you like things like Alphas from the Sci-Fi Channel, that show is fantastic. Very well done. The upside is no commercials. You can stream to your phone with the screen off. So if you listen to a lot of podcasts on YouTube, you don't have to burn your screen or spend a lot of battery time. You can just shut the thing off and listen to it like a regular podcast. So I mean, there's a lot to it, to the subscription, that really pays off. I'm enjoying it. It's I recently downsized a bunch of subscriptions that I wasn't using, and I kept YouTube Red because of I'm enjoying it a lot.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, hey YouTube, give us some credit here.
We're pimping.
We be pimping. So, Chris, you kind of joined late. What are your thoughts on all these announcements, or do you have any?
Well, it's the great, brilliant insight that I had about 5 a.m. right about the time that the Commander Koenig was making some really long-winded speech to wrap up some kind of mess of a plot was, if you look at comics history, you hit my favorite era, the Bronze Age, and then you see this self-conscious effort to diversify the comics. You start seeing characters like Black Panther and Red Wolf and Shang-Chi and characters like that debuting. And it's so funny that now 50 years later we've got this echo. You see Marvel trying to make more diverse films with more diverse characters. We're getting a Shang-Chi movie that is rather self-consciously being made not only by Asian and Asian American actors in front of the camera, but creative people behind it. It's almost like we're getting an echo of the Silver Age. We're getting that awakening of diverse characters. Showing up in the movies the way it did in the comics 50 years ago. And that's kind of neat. And I think of a lot of them. I've always been very fond of Cumberbatch's take on Doctor Strange, and they say they're gonna try to make a funny, scary movie, and that's not easy to pull off. But my cinematic comfort food is Vincent Price films. They could be funny and scary. I'm thinking, wow, would it be great? Seeing Cumberbatch and doing kind of a Vincent Price riff maybe with these films. That could be a lot of fun. That could give me all the feels. I could really like that. Especially since one of my favorite memes that goes around is like if Marvel Comics had been making movies back in the '60s and everybody always has Price as Doctor Strange, although I think he would have made a bit better Doctor Doom actually. But there you go. I think that'll be a really good film. Shang-Chi all comes down to the fight choreography. It's just. I feel confident they'll come up with a good story. I think it's neat they're tying him into the real Mandarin, that they're finally getting back to that plot after 20 years. But oh God, please don't let it be a bunch of guys in the dark. Every now and again throwing an arm or a leg in a hallway.
Yeah.
My best friend Lynn and I, we spent a great Sunday night at Alamo Drafthouse, seeing both Kill Bills back to back. Make that movie the fight in the Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Show me some stuff I haven't seen before. Blow me away. And then when you got nothing else to do, spank the kid and tell him to go home to his mom and tell him that's what you get for joining the Yakuza. Do that. That'll be fun. Eternals, they couldn't pay me to go see that movie. In fact, if they put me in that movie, I still wouldn't go see it. I really have no interest in Jack Kirby's Leftovers. In fact, congratulations, Marvel. You've come up with the one film I'm less interested in seeing than the actual New Gods movie that DC is doing.
I didn't know they were.
Yeah, Duvernay. I apologize, I can't think of her first name. That did the Wrinkle in Time adaptation that nobody went to see. That is doing New Gods, and I understand. I understand she's a skilled filmmaker, but I'm thinking, wow, so you're going to make 2 movies in a row nobody's going to go see. Poor thing. Yeah, because
You fail upwards in the movie business.
I guess so, but God, granted, I live in a world where the Disney live action remakes are something that people want to go see. Maybe society's at the right time for. It's called Apocalypse. You get it? You get it? You get it?
Yeah, maybe.
And his name is Darkseid. You get it? You get it? God, God, the whole, it's like everything Jack wrote by himself just feels like an extended dad joke.
I think if Darkseid is going to be in it, which obviously is fundamentally, they have to redesign him because everyone's going to compare him to Thanos straight away. As soon as he appears,
funny.
As soon as he appears, there's going to be something majorly changing with Darkseid.
And it's so funny how aware a lot of the creative people are of this. Like the Titans animated movie they did, and like Deathstroke, one of my other least favorite DC characters, he can't get anywhere in the film because the Titans keep asking him, "So you're Deadpool, right?" And he has to increasingly frustratingly explain, "No, I'm not Deadpool." But you kill people, right? No, yes, but I'm not Deadpool.
You're talking about the Teen Titans Go movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my kid really liked that, but there's like a 90-second long fart joke in the first 10 minutes, and that was his favorite part.
That's a shame because I really the bit they used in the trailer about asking Deathstroke if he's Deadpool, I thought that was just meta brilliant. Let's see.
A lot of people hate Teen Titans Go. I watch it with my 6-year-old and I really enjoy it, but I understand why the fans, hey Jacob, are a little upset about it.
I prefer the other one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, all right. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I think it's just all part of this. You have to accept that not all media is made for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My nephews like Go, and yeah, I would happily watch the other one, but the other one's a lot more serious, and they don't concentrate long enough to kind of take the plot in. So yeah,
just and frankly, I consider that to be a healthy sign of our culture of things. That there are things that I can appreciate are well made and well acted. They're just not aimed at my particular wheelhouse. I can accept that. And let's see here. And Blade is coming back. I understand there's a great deal of excitement about the gentleman that's playing him, and certainly starting with a really, really good actor is always a good first move, and that's part of the reason why I think the Marvel movies have been as successful as they are. But I've just never cared for Blade because he's kind of defines a one-trick character, and nothing really crystallized that for me as much as the Venture Brothers. If you're deep into the Venture Brothers, Dr. Orpheus, the Alchemist, and Jefferson Twilight.
I love Jefferson Twilight.
Yeah, and not only is Jefferson Twilight hilarious, the way that he's always standing around during a crisis and just emphasizing like, well, I pretty much just kill Blackulas, or any Blackulas are around need killing. And I'm thinking, that's pretty much what you're going to see out of a Blade movie. He's just a guy who kills vampires, and that's, I mean, they got two, they had 3 movies and 2 stories the first time around, and I'm just thinking, like, brace yourself for a shock, but he's gonna kill some vampires in this one, and to me, they're getting into like live action Lion King territory with that.
The weird thing about that is obviously the first 3 Blade movies worked in their own continuity because you could accept, there's vampires everywhere. Now you're actually putting into the MCU, you're going, why has no one ever seen the vampire then? If you're fighting endless onslaughts of vampires, which Blade obviously will probably have to be doing, where have they not shown up, or this kind of that weird. Again, it's kind of adding another level to the mythos that hasn't previously been mentioned or acknowledged before.
That movie could totally steal my heart if Blade asks them, if Blade asks them, where have you guys been hiding? And they go, like, oh, we're on the streaming services. Nobody knows we exist.
I'd also be interested in seeing if they actually put him up against Dracula.
Yeah, if you could get a decent enough Dracula actor, and just that could be good. That sadly, Sir Christopher Lee is no longer with us, or that definitely my opinion of this film would have done a 180 there. And it's kind of fun. I staggered into this. You guys were talking about Guardians, and it's so funny that you really get a sense that this phase in everybody in the original drawing board, Guardians 3 was going to be the centerpiece of it. And then they made that really, 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 really bad and unfortunate decision to fire James Gunn and delay Guardians till God knows when. And you kind of wonder if if Marvel just decided to go with what they had. You really don't see the natural you don't really see as many natural blockbusters in here as you would have with well, if nothing else, Guardians 3 will be great, make a ton of money. And I kind of wonder if maybe I'd like to think they were willing to do a fourth Thor film just because Taika Waititi needs to make way more movies and people need to go see them. But the thought of a Ragnarok sequel, maybe giving some buzz back to what otherwise would have been a pretty, not quite the sizzle of Phase 3 group of movies. And I want to see most of them, but there's just nothing here to compare to the excitement that you had over Endgame.
I just saw Endgame 2 weeks ago.
Oh, what'd you think?
I was really surprised it came out as well as it did. I really liked it.
Yeah,
it didn't feel like 3 hours. I could have a few quibbles here and there, but it was enjoyable 3 hours of the movies. And how often do you get that? So.
Yeah, it's a great emotional experience that doesn't make a lick of sense once you think about it. In the parking lot.
There's a lot of summer blockbusters if you stop and go, well, wait, what if they did this? Or, going back to the first movie I ever saw was the first Star Wars movie. And even then I was wondering, why didn't the stormtroopers just pick them off from the hole in the hallway when they were in the trash compactor? If you start asking questions, or heaven forbid, if you apply even some basic military thinking to, say, Game of Thrones battle scenes, shit just starts falling apart fast.
Yeah, but the Star Wars movies are even worse.
No argument. Yeah, we could talk with Walt a long time about the military and strategical deficiencies of battle scenes in Star Wars.
Oh, my favorite is there's a website out there, and you can subscribe to the updates. It's a blog, and it's instructors from West Point who have a lot of military knowledge, and some of some really interesting non-commissioned officers from throughout the Army, and they go to very popular movies and they shred the battle scenes. They've done it to Star Wars. My favorite one of the Star Wars series that they tore apart was The Last Jedi, because militarily that movie sucked balls. Those people should have just all died. So it was.
Oh yeah.
But
many things that took me out of that movie.
Yeah, they shred those movies. They shred all the Star Wars movies, not just Last Jedi. They shred Game of Thrones, Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, it's a really fun website. And when they do updates, it's kind of like I have a treat today, because it's really fun the way they go through, and they're very quippy. So they make fun while also saying, well, we're fans of the movie. Don't do this in real life.
I went to go see 300 with a buddy of mine who had some time in the Army. He was a tanker back in the Cold War, and he was like, I'm looking forward to this. It's the idea of all those guys in armor fighting together as a tight phalanx. I really want to see this. And you walk in and there's maybe a couple of fights where they do that, and then it's all of a sudden, hey, all the guys in Speedos are breaking ranks and just doing individual combat on the field. And about the opposite of what he was looking for. But I threw a link up in the chat I think you guys might enjoy. Or Penny Arcade tends to be kind of dark, but they're kind of cartoon. Are you reading it, Chris?
I'm just well aware that it's dark.
Yeah. So they're talking about the Lion King live action remake.
Oh God.
And the last panel is a guy crying, saying, I generally feel bad for the next generation watching these corpses parade around while everyone pretends they're living things. They'll say, why did you like this? And we'll reply, around the world's muffled by the gun barrel, because it used to be beautiful. And God, that was darker than I thought, guys. I'm sorry. Fuck, that was dark.
Okay, so I just want to talk about something else as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Well, interesting enough, San Diego Comic-Con, comics. Hey, it's in the name.
Hey.
That'd be a good idea to go back. Shed load of X-Men titles. What a surprise. The first thing.
The X era.
Yeah, the X-Men gets a 6-issue miniseries, and then all of a sudden they get another 1,000 titles added to their pull list. It's just, oh my Christ! So I'm not sure what to make of that. It sounds like they're going off to their own little world or dimension or something, which just seems to remove them completely from the rest of the Marvel universe. So that sounds a bit odd, and I'm not totally sold on the makeup of all the teams because a lot of key people seem to be missing. I don't remember seeing Nightcrawler on a team. Don't remember seeing Colossus on a team. Excalibur has got Betsy Braddock as Captain Britain. That's rather cool. Everybody else though, they don't fit Excalibur. That's just crazy. What's going on with that?
It sure would be nice if Excalibur was made up of primarily British heroes, wouldn't it?
It would be crazy, wouldn't it? Exactly. Wouldn't that be insane? Yes,
it's something I tried hard to do with superpowered legends. Is like, why are there all these foreigners on the premier British team? Like, okay, let's grab these people here. They're from Great Britain. Let's take these people here and these people here, and look, it's a team of Brits.
You'd be quite hard to. You might be able to do it. I think if you included,
would,
like Captain Britain and MI13 and all that kind of stuff, characters, you probably could make up a 5-6 person squadron. Union Jack and Spitfire and.
Well, let's see. The team I used was basically composed of homages to Captain Britain, his sister Betsy, because the X-Men doesn't need another psychic on their team.
No.
Banshee.
Yeah.
Wolfsbane. Yeah. And the Black Knight.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. That's weird. That's a good point. But that's the weird thing seems to be that is it Rosenberg who's currently running X-Men at the moment? Apparently he's been literally putting bullets in X-Men left, right, and centre, and virtually all of those are coming back in Hickman's run straight away. It's like, well, what was the point in that then? That makes no sense whatsoever. So that's a weird one for Marvel. But apart from that, I don't remember seeing anything comic related from Marvel apart from X-Men relaunch. I don't remember seeing. I think they mentioned an Amazing Mary Jane book. And that's it, which is odd for literally something that is Comic-Con. You would expect more comic information.
Not for the last 20 years now.
Well, that's true.
Hollywood's been taken over.
Yeah, DC kind of obviously. DC is the Legion of Superheroes coming back, which is rather good. The Millennium book, the Legion of Superheroes Millennium book, which apparently is going to show all the future timelines in some kind of organization, because apparently they have now got a lovely concise DC timeline that apparently ties everything together nicely until, of course, somebody decides that story wasn't in it anymore and then they have to move it around again. But apart from that, that'll be cool.
Yeah, you had to love the stage full of people that screwed up the New 52, and then accidentally did well with Rebirth, and then screwed that up there on stage, saying like, "Well, we realize the mistakes we've made over and over and over and over again, but this time, we're going to get it right."
It's like the new Legion book is apparently going to have the new Superboy. Is it? I can't remember even what the guy's name is. It's not Connor Kent, is it? It's the current
John Kent.
John Kent, he's going to go and join the Legion, apparently. But does this mean that Superman was never in the Legion of Superheroes when he was a kid? Because apparently that was in previous continuities. And therefore that messes up that part of the time, because some of the stuff that happened that is going to obviously overlap into previous Superman stories or existences or whatever. Because I swear even in Morrison's run, they had the Legion of Superheroes in there at some point, just even a nod to at least 2 or 3 issues. So I'd be really interested to find out what goes on with that. And then, Chris, you'll be massively happy to know that apparently they have plans for Wally West next year as well.
Well, I mean, they've already ruined that character.
I know.
What when Didio is in the grave and I'm dancing on it, then whoever succeeds him they'll do like a Jeff Johns, resurrecting Hal Jordan thing on him. But until then, they have fucked that character 6 ways to Sunday.
I know you would mention every time it came out for the Heroes in Crisis. You didn't like Heroes in Crisis.
I despise it.
I would stick with it.
It's like they read my post talking about how much I hate Doomsday Clock, and it was like Didio goes, "Hold my beer."
I stuck with it, and I thought, "Oh, Chris, you're wrong, man. This is quite good. This is interesting." Until the last issue, where it's like, "I'm the Flash. I killed the people because I did, and then I put." What? I don't get why you did it in the first place. I have no concept at all of why the hell the Flash killed all those people. I just don't understand it. That complete, and then they could announce the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, but straight out they page a Hero in Crisis. That's a big cross off for me then, because that last issue made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I just did not get it.
And here's the thing: as much as I love Wally West, and as much as Wally West will always be the Flash to me, and as baffled as I will always be that Johns and Didio insist on having the duller than dishwater Barry Allen be the Flash and trying to ram Barry Allen down our throat for God knows what reason. Barry Allen only worked once, and that's when he was dead, and when he was this unspoken presence in Wally's book.
That's
he worked
true.
so much better as a symbol than an actual character. No, I have every Flash comic published since I have a lot of them are reprints. Granted, I have every Flash comic published since 1956. You don't read them for Barry. You read them for his enemies, and then you read them for Wally. No one at DC seems to understand this. But to me, the greatest tragedy of all was Heroes in Crisis was being sold as like a important 21st century book that would examine trauma and how among our first responders and soldiers, and how they deal or don't deal with that. And honestly, that's still the book I want to read.
And it didn't. That's the crazy thing.
That setup is still one of the greatest ideas for a comic ever. In the end, it's all about launching a new Harley and Ivy book, because Lord knows those characters needed the exposure. I mean,
That's
really
right.
serious. Yeah.
And all the way through Heroes in Crisis, you got those like little 2-page scenes where you saw these kind of B-list characters. You go, oh, cool, I've not seen him for a while. And then they all died. And you go, what the hell was that?
Yeah, and to fuck over a character that Didio has hated from the start.
It's just weird. It's just strange. And the other Flash development apparently is the next big thing in the Flash thing is they're going to destroy the Speed Force. That's what apparently the next thing they're going to do. So what that means for the Flash after that, I've got no clue whatsoever.
Maybe Mark Waid is their new Alan Moore.
Maybe, but because again, apparently this year of villainy thing is going to lead into the next big crossover, and the death of the Speed Force apparently is this thing because we always need to kill a Flash, but this time we're killing the Speed Force. So the next Crisis thing, but I just don't get it. I'm puzzled. I mean, that literally was it. I don't remember. Again, talking not the lack of presence of comics at DC Comic-Con.
Well, I mean,
Superman and Legion. That's literally the only two DC announcements I remember seeing anything about. They used to do like, okay, we've got thousands of books. This is what's going to be the next big thing. There was 2 books mentioned. That's it. I don't remember seeing anything else whatsoever.
Well, of all the things that Didio has done that I despise, this and really, okay. To be fair, this is something that may be coming from on high, given the economics of comics. But just the fact that the current DC is we're going to publish like 10 comics a month. They all have to have Superman and Batman in them, and if they don't, you have to be given a middle finger to Alan Moore.
Yeah, that's true. It's I don't know. I always looking through the Comic-Con stuff and figuring out. And again, like I say, movies, whatever, TV series, whatever. Comics. Tell me what's coming next in comics. Just didn't seem to materialize.
Can I tell you guys what my pull list was last week?
Go on.
It was Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man life story, where they're kind of taking Marvel continuity.
And is it not great?
He has redeemed so much bullshit.
It's such a good book. I really love that book.
Yeah, he's made the Civil War, which was kind of a stupid story arc, into something meaningful. Of course, it's stretched on for like 30 years now.
Wow.
It's become very much upper-class heroes against working-class heroes, but he's redeemed the Clone Saga.
Yeah, the Clone Saga issue was really good, yeah. Craven as well. Yeah. I mean, that was just cool. And Venom. It's like, okay, it's like all the cool Marvel, all the cool Spider-Man stories condensed down into little one-issue snippets, and actually making them worthwhile rather than being 15-issue epic stories. That, oh my god, okay, issues 4 to 7 was actually crap. What the hell was going on there?
Yeah, I could go into detail, but I just want to say it redeems like the last 25, 30 years of Marvel continuity, cleanly and elegantly. So I don't recommend a lot of Spider-Man books. I don't think I ever have before, but this is one I would recommend, especially when it comes out in trade.
What series was this again?
This was Chip Zdarsky's. Let me get the exact.
Yeah, Spider-Man life story.
Spider-Man : Life Story.
Okay.
Up to issue 5 right now, and
basically it's Spider-Man from the 60s aging in real time all the way through to the 2010s.
So he's
really good.
He's an old man by the time it gets to today. And I told Walt about this when I saw it on Comixology, and I was like, I can't not buy that. That sounds like an idea I would come up with after too much coffee and maybe a shot. Jughead's Time Police.
I saw that and thought, what the hell? Yeah. Okay.
Oh God, yeah, it's exactly what you thought it was. I was like, well, it starts off kind of you're playing Archie comic, which is sort of good. It's nostalgia comfort food, except with time travel. He goes to the sci-fi malt shop in the future, and then you find out the big bad at the end is actually an evil Jughead from an alternate timeline. Of course you do. Who else is going to be the bad guy in Jughead?
Saying that with a straight face, I have new respect for you, sir. In addition to the considerable respect I already had.
Sorry, go.
No, I was just going to wrap up by saying I don't think I'll buy another issue ever, but I just had to check it out, and I know where it's going from here. I mean, there's you could write. Once I said evil alternate timeline Jughead, I think the rest of you guys already had a plot in your head for how this was going to go.
But I say, if you're talking Comixology stuff as well, then I believe it's still on sale. If it's not, then forgive me. The Immortal Hulk trade paperbacks were on sale at the moment for like $1.99, and they are so worth it. It's such a good book, absolutely spectacular take on the Hulk. Well worth it. Probably going to be cancelled in a couple of months' time on issue 25 and relaunched again because that's what they've already mentioned. Issue 25 is set a million years in the future with the Hulk still alive, and they're kind of saying, well, this is kind of the end of the story, maybe, possibly. So there'll be a new #1 soon. But if you can get them, well worth it. Absolutely brilliant.
I've been reading Hawkman just because.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Oh yeah, I really wish I picked that up.
Yeah, it's I almost feel like DC has some kind of contract with somebody where they're legally required to reboot Legion and Hawkman every few years.
Oh, and sorry, yeah, go. I just thought of another character that they mentioned in SDCC that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I really didn't like the latest issue of Hawkman, but they've done a series dealing with all of his past lives. And there's one where he's fighting a big space fleet invading London, and he manages to manifest all of his previous lives right there as like an army of Hawkmen to fight off this army that's tied into his backstory. It was pretty cool. But I think we should probably wrap things up. I know Walt has to bounce, and I have to get back to doing the bidding of my evil corporate paymasters.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Yeah,
2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Strange Adventures is coming back with Adam Strange. There you go. Thank you.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying. I'm massively looking forward to that. I love Bronze Age Adam Strange stuff. It's completely bizarre. I bought every single Adam Strange book that's come out in the meantime, and I'm so looking forward to a new version of that. That is really good.
All right, Walt, any closing thoughts?
More comics. More comics.
More comics at Comic-Cons. How about that? That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
I think we should go. I think they should do the Oscars and just have comic books.
That would be a lot better than what the Oscars normally is.
Jacob, any closing thoughts?
I have been enjoying the Buffy and Angel series that's been coming out recently.
Oh, cool. Check those out. Chris, closing thoughts for you?
Just sorry for showing up late, and thanks everybody for listening.
All right, cool. Pleasure to have you. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to our panelists, and we will catch you next time on the BAMF podcast.